Hello everyone, I'm Arglefump. In this video, I'll show how to complete the task list in Nancy Drew, Mystery of the Seven Keys. At the very start of the game, you need to talk to the bartender. That gives you the task of collect items to write to Ned. This is simple. It's basically a tutorial. You find a pen on the counter over here, and you find a postcard on the counter over here. That's how you complete the task of collect items to write to Ned.
That's done.
As for explore the cafe, there are 3 things you need to do in order to complete that task. The first one is to find the Wi-Fi password on the wall here.
Simple.
So click on the Wi-Fi password. The next thing you need to do is send a postcard to Ned by double-clicking on the postcard. Then you're going to use the pen on the postcard.
Dear Ned.
And you get a scene of Nancy writing the postcard to Ned. You skip ahead to the second day of the game at this point. So the third thing that you need to do to complete the task is find a particular book.
Still have to do that.
As you can see, the game thinks I'm not done. The book is right over here. It's a book on alchemy. It's on the alchemy shelf. It's an important book. It's added to Nancy's inventory. Once you get the book, you complete the task of exploring the cafe. That's one that confuses a lot of people, because there was no mention of finding a book on your task list, but you have to do it to complete the task. So here on the second day of the game, 2 tasks are triggered as soon as you enter the cafe. When you enter the cafe, you get this message.
Doesn't make much sense either.
So this is going to be a 3-part task. Part 1, figuring out the password, which is 1169.
Treasure, no doubt.
Part 2, finding this location on the treasure map. It's this book right over here.
Looks old.
So let me show this off in our task list. Part 1 was figure out the password. Part 2,
that's done.
Find the map's location. Part 3, open up the book. This is a puzzle. I'm going to show off the solution here. You enter that solution onto the book. That's how you complete the task of figure out what the message from the unknown sender means. The other task on the second day of the game is find out the details of what happened. Part 1 is meeting Adela. The way to do that is to talk to the barista, and then you are going to sit down on this chair that's going to trigger a scene with Adela. Adela gives you a list of 3 people to investigate. Those are added to your task list. You also want to talk to the barista. She will give you a task. To complete the task of investigating Adela's list, you need to do all these other tasks. You need to explore the cafe, investigate the 3 people on the list, and you need to help around the cafe. Once you complete all those tasks, you're done with Adela's list. You get a new task, which is go over your findings with Ned. Ned sends you a text message. You call Ned after receiving his text message. That's how you complete the task of find out the details of what happened. Let's go through these various tasks. I explained explore the cafe. Help around the cafe. You need to do 4 things for that task. So you need to find 3 objects for the barista.
Coffee.
1 is there. 1 is here. And the 3rd one is over here. After you find all 3 objects, you talk to the barista again, and you do the coffee puzzle. That's how you complete the task of help around the cafe. Oh, and I should note, this task of recover Adela's necklace is one that you can safely ignore, because that doesn't happen until the very end of the game when you're capturing the culprit. So, don't feel bad if you have that on your task list. It will be on the task list for most of the game. Now for the 3 people on the list. The first one is Second Shine. What you do is you take a look at the list and you click on this website here to go to the website.
What is this? Who? Better yet, what?
You want to scroll to the bottom of the website for this phone number.
Hans Farzinger.
You have to call Hans. After that, you're going to call Carson, which is Nancy's father. Then you send a text message to Ned. That's how you complete the task of Investigate Second Shine. Now for the task of Investigate Oscar. What you have to do is take a look at the list, click on the phone number. Oscar's phone number is added to Nancy's phone. You have to call Oscar. Once you finish this conversation, these doors open so you can meet him in person, and you have to talk to him about everything.
Mr.
I should note that when you call Hans, that gives you a conversation about Degas. You have to talk about Degas to Oscar, meaning you do have to talk to Hans before talking to Oscar. That way you can complete the task of talking to Oscar about everything. You're still not finished, though. Talking to Oscar about everything is not it.
Can't check that off yet.
You also need to take a look at this item.
Incredible glasswork. But
That's going to
how does it
trigger a
open?
scene with
I
Oscar.
need more information.
What are you doing?
Once you trigger that scene with Oscar, you're finished with the task of investigating
Check.
Oscar. Oh, and you get this new task, investigate Oscar's artifact. You are supposed to do this later on in the game, after you do the puppet show puzzle, but you can do it here. You can do it here at the very start. It's a puzzle. The first part of the puzzle is moving this thing. Then you click on the sun, and then you move this thing again.
Whoa. Kepler's law in action.
Now we have another part of the puzzle. You want to rotate the rings to spell out the correct password. The password is this. Click the thing at the bottom after you enter the password, and you get to see those hidden gems. That's how you complete the
That's
task
done.
of investigate Oscar's artifact. As for Vladena Zlati, the third person on this list, all you have to do is go to Zlate Jewelry, which is this store over here, and talk to her about everything. Again, it is necessary to have a
Means-
conversation about Degas.
My name
And
is
you
Nancy
don't learn
Drew.
about Degas
I
until you talk
understand
to
you
Hans.
praised a necklace for
So
Adela
talk to
Cherna.
Hans before talking to Vladena. That's how you complete the task of talking to Vladena about everything. As I said, once you complete pretty much everything on
Check.
your task list, you get that text message from Ned.
Check.
Respond to his text message. He's gonna say, "Hey, Nancy, why don't you call me? Why don't you call me?" So you get this new task. Discuss your findings with Ned. Go back to the cafe and call Ned. That's how you finally finish the task of find out the details of what happened. After you finish the phone call with Ned, the game skips ahead to nighttime and gives you a new task, speak with the Hardy Boys.
Check.
It's a very simple task. All you have to do is call the Hardy Boys. Then you're sent to the next day of the game, where you're given the task of access the Degas file for Adela's necklace. First, you need to ask around for a laptop. You need to talk to the barista. She tells you to go to Apparat. She also gives you another task, deliver the coffee to the man at the table, and that's a simple enough task. You go to this man, and you have a conversation with him. He gives you the task of, later, see if Leo's available at his office. Obviously, this happens later. Let's go back to accessing the Degas file. So after you ask the barista about laptops, you visit the computer store. To complete the task of visiting the computer store, you need to talk to Elka about everything, and you need to talk to her grandfather about everything. This triggers a brief scene where Nancy meets Radek, and he gives you the next task, visiting him at the Marionette Theater. The Marionette Theater is in the courtyard. You go there, talk to Radek. He's going to give you a puzzle with the marionettes. After that puzzle is done, you need to talk to him about everything. That's how you complete the task of visit the Marionette Theater.
That's done.
You'll notice it's nighttime now. That's later, so we can complete the task of later, see if Leo's at his office. You need to go through this door, and you do have to talk to Radek about everything. Otherwise, you won't get this conversation.
The Dean.
It's a brief scene between Oscar and Leo's secretary. And when you hear it, you get a text message from Frank and Joe Hardy. So that's how you complete the task of later, see if Leo's available at his office. And the Hardy Boys, they say they sent you the Degas file. So that gives us the new task of going back to the Degas file. We're going to look at it for real now. Oh, also, take the haunted tour. So you can do this after you talk to the Hardy Boys for the first time. It's right here. You click on this sign, and then it will be the nighttime haunted tour here. You need to visit all of the exhibits, starting with this. This is number 1. You're going to click on the audio thing next to it as soon as it lights up. There we go. Click on the audio file, and the narrator is going to talk for a while. Wait for him to finish, and then you do the same thing with exhibit number 2, exhibit number 3, then exhibit 4, and exhibit 5. Finally, you finish the tour by going back here and clicking on the sign to leave. I should note that you don't have to do the entire haunted tour if you don't want to. As for charge the laptop, we have the charger right here in the cafe. Use it on the laptop, and then you're going to have a minor puzzle. First you put in the internet password. Then you download the attachment. And there's a minor puzzle here, trying to get all of these pieces into place in order to form the picture. That's how you complete the task of charge the laptop. Your next task is to get the laptop fixed at Apparat. To do that, you have to go to the computer store. You're going to snoop in Elka's area and in Merrick's area. That's going to trigger a scene which leads to a puzzle called Cyberblock. And when you finish with that, you're sent to the next day of the game, having completed the task of getting the laptop fixed. On this next day of the game, we get 2 new tasks. The easy one is further investigate the Marionette Theater. So with that, you want to go inside the Marionette Theater. I believe you have to look at 3 things. This one.
Wow, that's a big
This one.
donation.
You're going to open up this using that.
A new
And this is
story
the 3rd thing you need to look
about
at.
an ancient group called the Residente.
You also need to talk to Radek about everything, and that's how you complete the task of further investigate the Marionette Theater. You'll notice we just got a new task, learn more about the Residente. You can ignore this task. It's going to stay on your task list for a while. It's not until nighttime that you'll actually have to complete this one. So the other task you get at the start of this day is further investigate Zlate Custom Jewelry. To do that, you want to go to Vladena's store here and talk to her about everything. Vladena will temporarily leave her store, and you get this new task, unlock Vladena's safe. And that's a puzzle to figure out the password to her safe. Solve the puzzle to complete the task of unlock Vladena's safe. Inside the safe we have this piece of paper, which is related to the Degas file. And when you leave the area, that's going to give you a new task related to it. But first we have to go through... Oh, there it is. Here's the new task. So you want to compare the file you just got with the file on Nancy's computer. You go back to the cafe for the laptop charger. Use the charger on the laptop. And like before, you have to download the Dagos attachment and do a brief puzzle in order to view it. There is going to be another puzzle with the file. The puzzle is to compare the computer file with the paper file, noting what's the same and what's different. Once you solve the puzzle, you've completed the task of compare the in-store necklace log with the entry.
That's done.
And the task of access the Dagos file for Adela's necklace.
Check.
We still aren't done with further investigate Zloty custom
Still
jewelry.
have to do that.
You have to go back to Vladena and confront her in order to complete that task. So that triggers a text message from Frank and Joe Hardy.
That's done.
They're going to suggest calling Agent Zane. Agent Zane is over here on your phone. You're going to call him, and this is going to give you a new task. The task is find the dean. Step 1 is go to the dean's office, which is right over here. You go inside, and you have this brief scene with the secretary and Oscar. So now we have the task of investigate Leo's office, which is basically find this puzzle and solve this puzzle.
Is no ordinary. The bookcase moved.
I don't care about hidden passageways, Nancy. I care about the cat. Look, there's a cute little cat. Unfortunately, the cat is not on your task list. As I said, you need to find the puzzle and solve that puzzle.
Still have to do
I guess investigate Leo's office probably requires you to take a few extra steps, such as exploring his desk. On his desk, we have this. This word Cuprum is the clue for a puzzle later on. We have to open up this, and that gives us the pen. We put the pen there in order to open up this drawer so we can see his calendar. You also want to click on his phone here to listen to his messages. That's how you complete the task of investigate Leo's office. Alright, so we still haven't found the dean.
I'm not done with that yet.
Obviously, the next step is to go through the hidden tunnel area. You're going to have a puzzle because it's a maze here in the tunnels. When you're finished with the tunnel maze, Nancy automatically calls the police, giving us this new task. Follow up with the police later. Later meaning nighttime. And you get a text message from Adela saying meet her at the cafe. You have to talk to her, solve her puzzle, and talk to her about everything for this new task. You need to find out about this alchemist workshop. To do that, you need to talk about alchemy with Radic, with Oscar, with the barista Patrici, and with Merrick.
Check.
Merrick will give you this puzzle. Once you talk to him about alchemy, it's a puzzle to open up his trunk. The first part of the puzzle is mostly pressing buttons. The second part is to go to the haunted tour and steal these gems. The third part of the puzzle is to use the gems on the trunk. That gives you another puzzle, and you get a tiny little key.
Check.
You want to use the tiny key you just got on the snow globe here. This part of the snow globe at the bottom.
Whoa, the inside moved.
And that gives us a new task of figuring out what is going on with the snow globe. Well, the clue in the snow globe refers to the tunnels, the flooded tunnels, and it's a picture of the bridge. You go to the picture of the bridge in the tunnels, use the snow globe on this spot.
How has nobody ever found
It's
this?
going to trigger a
It's
lights
just
puzzle.
begging to be solved.
Solving the puzzle completes the task.
Check.
It also opens up this doorway to the alchemist's lab, and you're going to have a task inside there.
This
Explore
must
the
be
lab.
old alchemy lab.
To solve this task, you need to grab this thing.
I think there's something inside.
Finding out what's hidden inside that black stone is its own task. It's a puzzle. What you need to do is grab the black stone, put it here, and then do the alchemy challenge.
What is this thing?
Complete the challenge to get that item.
Check.
That's how you complete the task. The item you just got is
What
for
a
this
curious
curious cabinet. That curious cabinet is its own task.
Worthy.
Entering the correct
Certified
combination on the
Seems
lock
like the
is a
alchemist was
puzzle.
clearer on
Then you need to
This
search
looks
the
like it
cabinet.
belongs
You
in
need
a
to find
museum.
that book.
I can't read any of
And you
this.
need to find this coin. This completes the task of open the elaborate cabinet, explore the lab, and research the workshop Adela mentioned.
That's done.
The next thing you do is not on your task list. It's do the maze of the tunnels. This time you have to find a different exit. It's not the same exit you used previously. This is where the exit is. When you go through the door, there is going to be a minor chase scene. Complete the chase scene to get a phone call from Adela, as well as a text message. The text message is going to give you a brand new task. And it's hard to read. Look, it's very, very tiny letters there. Alright, so, it's nighttime. That means it's later, and we can follow up with the police. So call the police after the second chase scene.
I guess I'm on my own.
They're not going to be much help, but that does let you
That's
complete the
done.
task of later follow up with the police. You cannot finish the
that
task of
yet.
find the dean at this time. That's something which happens at the very end of the game. When you catch the culprit and recover Adela's necklace, that's when you find the dean. So,
I'm not done with that
that's a
yet.
task which is at the very end of the game. Let's tackle this new one. Leave the journal at the cafe. So this is the journal that we got from inside the elaborate cabinet. You go to the cafe and you click over here. Then you are going to send a text message to Patricia about it. Now, if you have not talked to her in person about the Residente, you talk to her via text about the Residente. The next part of the task is to,
That's done.
Oh, we didn't even have to do the second part of the task, which is to check if Radek's around to ask him about the Residente. So, moving on to this task, learn more about the Residente. For whatever reason, I seem unable to complete this task unless it's nighttime. To complete the task, what you have to do is talk to everybody about the Residente. You talk to Patrice about the Residente. You talk to Oscar about the Residente. You talk to Merrick about the Residente. You talk to Radek about the Residente. And the one that confuses some people, you need to talk to our boy Ned about the Residente. It's a text message conversation, and you have to do the entire thing. Otherwise, you cannot complete the task of talking to everybody about the Residente. And that's sort of silly because the text message conversation ends with happy face. It is a very, very important happy face, okay? You need to get that happy face. Once you talk to Ned and everybody else about the Residente, you get this conversation with Radek. So talk to everybody about the Residente. That gives you a brand new Residente conversation with Radek. And that is the conversation you need to finish the task.
Check. That's done.
There is one more thing you need to do here at the end of the day. You need to have a text message conversation with Ned. This is triggered when you have that chase scene and you escape from the tunnels. You get the phone call and the text message from Adela. That's what Nancy and Ned are talking about. When they have that text message and they talk to Radek about the Residente and they do the other things, we move ahead to the next day of the game where Nancy gets a new task, which is to get the journal from Adela. To do that, you need to talk to Patricia. Then you're going to sit here And you're going to have a puzzle
I
of
went from
snooping
a
through
handful of
Adela's
thousands.
stuff. You need to solve the puzzle and then talk to her about everything. This completes the task of getting the journal from Adela, and it gives you 2 more tasks.
Check.
It gives you discuss the investigation with Zane, and that's an easy one. You just call to Zane and talk to him about both things. That's how you complete the task of talk to Zane.
Check.
Next, we have solve the journal's riddles, and there are 3 different riddles. Each one is its own puzzle. So, Born in Fire, I'm Left Cold. That is the night puzzle inside the museum area, and you do solve it during the haunted tour. We Are Brothers of the Sun is a puzzle near Leo's office with the candles. You put the copper coin in there, and then you click on various candles to spell out the word Cuprum. We Divide the World refers to the clock. You do have to talk to Patrici here before you can solve that particular puzzle. And you probably should send a text message to Ned. Like, you don't have to, but he gives you a hint as to how you're supposed to actually work the clock. And there we go. That was the conversation with Patrici. Let me look at the clock here now. Just to prove that you can't mess with the clock until you talk to Patrici about it. Let me confirm what I just said. You solve the clock puzzle. That counts as solving the We Divide the World task. Solve the suit of armor puzzle. That's the Born of Fire, I Am Left Cold task. Solve the candle puzzle to complete We Are Brothers of the Sun. Solve all 3 of those puzzles to complete the task of solve the journal's riddles. After that, you want to go outside, which is going to trigger a minor scene and a text message from Ned. This is the scene. That's the text message. Nancy's going to talk about the fact that somebody is tracking her through her phone. So she's going to set a trap for them. That's going to be the next task.
I need to find somewhere secluded to corner whatever is following me.
As Nancy just said, we have to do this in a secluded location, and it is going to be over here.
This spot will work. Now to get in. I gotta have some torque.
You need to take that torque-filled screwdriver and use it on this door. Then you're gonna have a puzzle to set a trap for the villain. Once you finish with the trap, there are several scenes and a puzzle where you figure out the weights of keys. Once you finish the key weights puzzle, you are finished with the task of confront whatever has been following you. I find it a little strange that you have to do the key weights puzzle as part of the task for capturing the villain, but whatever. Once you solve the key weights puzzle, you are given this piece of paper, along with a new task about the dead drop. So first is perform the dead drop, which is right over here by this statue. You're going to click here.
I've got to get back and report to Merrick before the bag is taken. That's done.
We completed the dead drop. Then you go back to Merrick. Talk to him to complete the task of notify Merrick
That's
about
done.
the dead drop. Next we have trail the agent. This is a puzzle. You go back to the site of the dead drop.
Good. It's picking up
And
a
then
signal.
you need to follow the
Now,
beeping
which way did
sound.
they go?
There are like 10 or so places you need to go to. Here's
Now
the
what?
first one. Here's the second
right.
one. And then you're just going to keep following the beeping noises until you find yourself back at the lab entrance. You need to reopen the door with the snow globe, then go inside. That's how you complete the task of trail the agent and uncover the agent.
That's done.
Nancy is poisoned in this scene, so Nancy needs to find an antidote for the poison. What you do is you grab the bottle over here on the ground.
Ugh, smells like fish.
You're gonna go over here. This is the antidote, so you need to solve the puzzle, create the antidote.
That was almost
Drink the
very
finished
bad.
antidote, And that's how you complete the task of find an antidote. Next, we have the task of pursue Vladena and escape. Just go through this door here.
Must have gone this way.
That leads you to this area where you have to do two things. You need to click on the gems and click on the computer for a conversation. That allows you to go through the exit door. You arrive in the vault. Here, you're going to have to pick up the bag with the 7 keys and take a look at the door.
Okay.
That gives
I've
you
gotta
the
get
next
this
task
door
on your
open.
task list,
I
which
need more
is place
information.
each key into the
There
correct
must be
lock.
something I already have.
When you do that, you get the
That's done.
task of turning the keys in the correct order.
Yes. One door down.
So basically, the task
That's
is
done.
to solve the vault door puzzle. You're going to go forward to this door, which is going to prompt a scene. You're going to solve a puzzle to turn on the door. You're going to solve a puzzle to open the door. Once you're on the other side, you are going to solve a puzzle with a crown to defeat the culprit. Once the culprit is unconscious, you have completed the task of pursue Vladena and escape, as well as the task of find the Dean.
That's done. Still have to do that.
You're still not done with the task of finding Adela's necklace, though. You have another puzzle to solve. You have a puzzle to escape this room by pushing down candles. Solving that puzzle opens a passageway into the hidden tunnels. You go to the closest door. Use your screwdriver on the door to open it. Then leave through the exit. There are many scenes after that, along with a new task.
That's done.
This completes the task of recover Adela's necklace, by the way. You need to watch those ending scenes. The new task is check your messages. Nancy has a message from her dad and from Ned. And this should give us another task, which is call someone back. Call either Nancy's dad or Ned to bring an end to the game. That's how you complete all the tasks in Nancy Drew, Mystery of the 7 Keys. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Goodbye.